riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am your host, Garrett Harvey.
I'm your other host, Tim Richardson.
Tim, how you doing?
Bad, Garrett. I'm doing bad this week.
I don't believe you.
I mean, I'm pretty excited.
I'm doing bad.
I'm pretty excited.
I'm doing bad. I'm going to ask again, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's right, you fucking liar.
I'm doing the exact inverse of how you're doing.
Yes, you are. You want to let the folks at home know why it is we're in such disarray this week?
Well, this week we are listening to Slipknot's at least major label debut, their self-titled Slipknot, which was released June 29th, 1999.
That's right. Against all better judgment and months of protestation on my part, we are doing Slipknot. Tim has been lobbying for this since day one, guys. I have tried. I have put countless bands in front of him. Lou Bega, ABBA, the Bee Gees. He isn't going to bite. We had to do it. So here we are. We're doing Slipknot. Tim, without wasting another moment, do you hate this album?
Oh, God, yes. The only bright light of this entire week has been imagining just how much you are hating this. Knowing you hate this more really fills my heart with joy.
How dare you pretend to know what I am thinking?
Oh, I hope you love this album. Garrett, do you hate this?
I hate this with the fire of 1,000 suns. I hate this so much that we are going to have to go back and do every single episode to date because I didn't know what hate meant. This has redefined the entire scale. It now goes from Slipknot. Korn is now great. There's just no way we're ever going to be in a situation where something could possibly compare to Slipknot. I'm hoping to never be proven wrong. This has shaken me to the core. Tim, you suggested this album, so let's start with you. What is your personal history with the Slipknots?
I have heard this album a single time in its entirety before this week. That was in December of 1999. I had just moved to the U.S. from Saudi Arabia, and I was going back to visit my dad and some of my friends over there. So one of my friends told me about a new band he liked, and he wanted one of their albums. And so I am one of the people that technically purchased this album at its
You're part
beginnings.
of the problem.
Yeah, I am. I bought this for one of my friends. I guess I technically smuggled it into the country. I remember bringing it to my friend's house. He put it on, and he turned it up so loud. And as we'll get into, the music on this album is like 93% bass drums. It made his house shake, and it made the CD literally skip. When I first heard this, I don't know if the word scared is right. I wasn't fearful of this, but there's a weird sensory confusion.
It's jarring.
What is this? What's happening? Why? Can we turn it on? Jesus Christ, make it stop. I don't know what's happening. I gotta go.
That's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, make it stop. So how angry was this kid at his parents?
He was a very nice young man. Well, here's the thing. He had never heard it before. He had just heard word of mouth, this is a CD I should own. No one there had ever heard it. I introduced this album to the country of Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
I'm Saudi Arabia's patient zero for the Slipknots.
I can't imagine that it made it much beyond the walls of that house.
Have you heard this before?
Absolutely not. I will tell you my only cultural touch point with this band. And oftentimes, especially in the time in which this came out, it was not uncommon to hear some shitty music on the radio because that was still the primary way to hear music. I avoided this like the plague. I knew it was not for me. The only thing about Slipknot that I had any interaction with whatsoever was a kid in my class named Simon. Now, Simon was a goth kid, so he wore a Slipknot, I presume the same Slipknot t-shirt, every single day. And I relentlessly mocked Simon, not for being different and not for being a goth kid and not even for liking Slipknot because I didn't know at the time just how bad it was. What I mocked him for was that he was so dark and dreary, but he also drove a Saturn. And so I would just constantly pepper him with safety facts regarding his Saturn, such as the dent-resistant panels, and wondered if he prayed to his Dark Lord while making sure that the child safety seat was properly secured in the back.
You are so goddamn bad at bullying.
Yeah, and I wasn't great at it. I couldn't come from a traditional angle. I was not a big boy, Tim. I was a small
Not like
chap.
now.
That's right. I was a small chap. I hadn't hit my growth spurt and was, you know how some kids go through an awkward phase through puberty, like 13 to even 17 might even be a good range?
Sure.
I just pulled out of that nosedive about 4 years ago. So...
yeah, whenever you grew that beard, covering up the
it's-
awkward.
Yes, this is an awkward shielding beard.
I find it hard to believe, or I don't want to believe that you've never heard this before. And let me tell you why. Do you remember the first thing you ever said to me?
No.
Because I do.
Of course not.
It was horrifying.
Hold on. Before you say anything else, I want you to know this moment right now we're having, this is horrifying.
That's fair. 2003, we were introduced, we shook hands, and you leaned in and you whispered, "You can't kill me because I'm already inside of you." To now
Did I
find
really?
out that you've never, ever heard this before chills me to the bone.
You know what? As true today as it was then.
All right, so I'd heard it once, you'd heard it never. We've now both heard it 10 times, maybe more.
Oh, at least. Cumulatively, no less than 80. Honestly, there is a chance that I've heard this band before, and the only reason I say there's a chance that I've heard it is that even after listening to it as many times as I have, I still can't differentiate between these songs.
Yeah, that's true.
It is like a wall of sound if those sounds were metal falling a long distance onto concrete.
Yeah, some sort of brain-damaged Phil Spector.
Well, that's a bit redundant, but I think I take your meaning. Honestly, you know what? Apologies, Slipknot. Phil Spector is 100% more terrifying than any member or cumulative collection of Slipknot. Those guys are making pretend. They are a drama group that got a little out of hand. Phil Spector will put a fucking gun in your mouth. That guy's no joke.
Allegedly. Or actually, no.
No, he's in prison for
Conclusively.
shooting a lady in the face.
He 100% will put a gun in your mouth.
Absolutely. All right, so let's learn how this band was foisted upon us.
This band started sort of as a loose collection of Des Moines, I believe is how you say it, Iowa musicians.
Nope.
And they were playing together with sort of a rotating lineup starting back in about 1991. Des Moines had a very rich metal scene. I don't know what that means exactly.
So they say.
It was officially founded, though, in 1995 by the drummer, the percussionist, which is a huge difference in this band, apparently, and the bassist. Early on, they wrote a song called Slipknot, but they made their live debut in 1995 under the name Meld.
So let's stop right there.
Okay.
What do you suppose made them name it Slipknot? I have looked up what a slipknot is, and it is, unbeknownst to me as a child, I used it repeatedly in a nautical setting.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. It's not a
as though that's
particularly hardcore.
Yeah, it holds no meaning. I don't understand it. I mean, not that the names of bands have to have a meaning, but it is a little odd. If this band were named Sheepshank, I would be 26% more on board.
I like Bowline. Be good.
I've always been a bowline man.
Okay, so 1995, they make their live debut. They've got 6 members at this point, and as soon as they get done with this show, they decide to change their name to Slipknot. Apparently, Meld wasn't a great name. But
Whatever.
also around this time, they decide to start wearing masks on stage. This is explained by Sean Crahan, I think is how you say his name, or Clown, if you will. He says, "We're all going around the room asking, what are you going to wear? And I pulled out a clown mask and said, I'm going to wear this. A few of my bandmates were like, no fucking way. You can't be the only guy wearing some stupid mask. So I told them, I don't care what you think. This is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do. So here we are all these years later."
I got a second quote regarding the masks, and they said it helps the audience, you and I, the listener, to better focus on the music. Now, I know you attend several live concerts. I certainly enjoy a live show. If somebody comes out dressed as a demonic clown, is that going to help you focus more on the music or less on the music?
Probably less, but in their defense, in concerts, I'm usually staring at bands' faces.
Okay. Why?
It's not distracting. We can
Yeah,
say
it
that
seems
for
like
sure.
the exact opposite of what they're going
Yeah,
for.
but I kind of like it that this asshole basically forced everyone to wear dumb masks so that it wouldn't be distracting for one guy to just be wearing a clown mask.
Yeah.
Basically, he forced them to do this in public at every show, every public appearance for the next 20 plus years. I kind of respect it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a strong move.
I honestly, it's a very strong move because I am of the opinion that they never would have made it this far or been been nearly as popular if not for this shtick.
Oh yeah, the look is everything for this band. Definitely.
While we're touching on the look, let's mention the jumpsuits. Did you happen to find any quotes regarding why are they wearing jumpsuits?
It was the same guy.
Yeah, more or less.
But I don't know exactly the story.
There's not much of a story, but when asked about it in several different interviews, what I found was they were trying to make a statement on the commercialization of music. Unfortunately, they didn't exactly articulate it correctly when repeatedly, not just once, his stock answer would be, well, we wanted to have an appearance that just said, hey, we're a product. You sure are, Slipknot, and that is the crux of my issue.
Yeah, I kind of get it because they have barcodes on the back. That kind of makes sense.
Okay.
They meant it in an ironic way, and then I guess, ironically, it was true in a non-ironic way.
And that's a great life lesson. I've fallen victim to this many times. My general appearance was meant to be ironic, and then after a while, if you just walk around like that, it no longer has any irony, and that's just who you are. That's literally how Jimmy Buffett became Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah. And
he used to be an accountant.
Stopped wearing shoes. Okay, so they're a live band. They've got masks. They've got jumpsuits. So now it's time to record an album.
I guess.
After the masks, after you get your jumpsuits on, that's recording time. As far as I know.
That is the standard path to being a professional musician.
That's right. So they begin recording their self-financed debut, Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat. In late 1995, they spend $40,000 of their own money, and they're doing this while playing local shows. That is released in 1996. This album has a different lead singer that was apparently terrible, so they moved...
Which is a very confusing statement.
Right, because they don't seem to care about terrible vocals. They bring in current lead vocalist from Stone Sour and future episode of this show, Corey Taylor. That was in 1997, and he was apparently an improvement somehow.
Because he could quote-unquote harmonize. And you know what? I don't want to nitpick. That's not untrue, because there are times on this album where he sings, ? And I couldn't help but notice some striking similarities in sound and capability to none other than Sugar Ray. It's not the same style by any means. If you were to put them next to each other and ask them to impersonate one another, well, Sugar Ray already did it. They beat you to it, Slipknot. The opening track to that album is literally mocking you.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you this guy could definitely sing every morning.
Oh, sure. It's a weird thing with this band. None of them are bad musicians. He's not a bad singer, but they are exclusively playing bad music, and he is exclusively singing poorly.
I wish they had never taken those masks off, because then I could confidently say that the lead singer of Slipknot is Mark McGrath. But sadly, in 2010, they did.
They continue to add new members, bringing it up to 9, which is the number of musicians every good band has.
Yeah, seems like they went the wrong direction with it.
So they have a vocalist, 2 guitarists, a bassist, a drummer, 2 percussionists, a turntablist, which I found out is actually a word people use. I thought you were bullshitting me. And then
Tim, you'll come to find out everything I say on this show is 100% accurate and truthful.
Terrifying. They also have a guy whose contributions are listed as samples/media. In 1998, they record a demo, and they get producer Ross Robinson on the strength of those demo songs. Do you know who Ross Robinson is?
Sure do. This guy is responsible for some of the worst nu metal to be unleashed upon the world in the last 25 years.
Oh, he's the godfather of nu metal. I
Ooh,
believe
like
that's his
that.
title.
A title you gave him or a title someone else
Title
gave
the
him?
internet has given him.
Yeah, I saw Korn, I saw Limp Bizkit, I saw Vanilla Ice's ill-fated hard rock album, which, oh, you know what? Guys, you're getting to see behind the curtains right now. Tim, add it to the list.
All right.
For the love of God, why isn't Vanilla Ice's hard rock album on our list?
Will do. He discovered Korn and Limp Bizkit. He produced the first 2 Korn albums. He produced the first Limp Bizkit album. So fuck that guy. They sign with Roadrunner Records, and they make this album, which was released in 1999.
Okay.
It was the same year that Chris Gaines was released. These two are contemporaries.
Yeah, that makes sense. The record deal they signed seemed suspicious at best. $500,000 for a 7-album deal.
Whoa.
First of all, they didn't fulfill that at all.
Not yet.
I have to assume for the 9, really all told, the 13 people that have been able to have the distinguished honor of calling themselves a member of Slipknot, $500,000 is not going to take you very far.
Probably not.
I have to assume they renegotiated at some point.
This album originally came out with 2 songs, Purity and Frail Limb Nursery, that we will not be discussing today because they weren't on our copy. They were removed on later editions. They were replaced with Me Inside. Those two songs, they were based on a fictional website that made up crimes and then wrote them as if they were real crime reports.
It was a true crime website of fictional stories.
Right. Basically, these guys fell for the equivalent of an Onion story.
Yes.
I guess. But the internet's new in 99, so maybe not their fault.
It would be incredibly difficult to explain to an uneducated person in 1999 that anyone can put whatever the fuck they want on the internet.
They had to take both of those songs off the record to avoid copyright infringement because, they were somebody's fictional story that they had copyrighted.
I read that Corey Taylor to this day still believes that they're true.
Of course he does.
just why, man?
The fact that they were fake was fake news.
It was fake news before news got fake. I read that they recorded all of the drums for this album in not 1, not 2, but 3 days. That's amazing. A real Travis Barker situation here.
Yeah. I did my best not to learn very much about these guys other than what we've talked about so far. I do have some fun facts, mostly from later in their career, that I will insert randomly because I'm officially stealing your bit.
Okay, well, we're going to have a bit off because I have some Slipknot fun facts that I will be putting in almost exclusively in the middle of your sentences.
Okay, well, I'm going to call mine...
In fact, I may record them at a later date and just put them in sporadically to make you sound even more insane.
I'm going to call mine Slipknot Super Fun Facts to distinguish them from your Slipknot Mediocre Fun Facts.
First of all, I've never called them mediocre, and
I'm calling them mediocre.
Okay, well, that doesn't help. Was that supposed to make me feel better?
No.
Oh, it's just for clarity's sake?
Yes.
Thanks. Mine are super ultra mega fun facts. What else you got? What do you mean that's not a thing?
I would like...
None of this is a thing. You're not a thing.
I would like to address the fact here, the numbers. This is again Sean Crahan, the asshole that insisted on masks. Back when we started, we were going to wear a mask, and I started wearing coveralls. We all started wearing coveralls. Then there were so many of us, we put a barcode on the back. Then we wanted numbers. Well, I wanted numbers. It was kind of ironic because everyone fell into a number. I wasn't going to tolerate any other number than 6. Like, if somebody was going to fight me for it, I was going to fight to the death for it. But nobody wanted it. Joey wanted the number 1. Paul wanted the number 2. Mick, he is like, I have to have 7. Fuck everyone. It's my lucky number. Corey was like, I want 8. Infinity. When Sid joined the band, he said, and I quote, I am not a number. I am 0. I am filth. It was kind of magical, honestly.
Can we just call it an episode right now? I think that motherfucker just perfectly exemplified why I hate this band. That is not a story. That is not magical.
I am not a number. I am 0. I am filth.
You are filth.
Okay.
It's time for my first fun fact. Super ultra mega fun fact number 1. Sean Crahan would keep a dead crow in a jar behind his drum kit while he played. He apparently did this so that he could keep everything hardcore and sniff it throughout.
Yeah. Ringo did the same thing.
Yeah. Ringo, your crow stinks. Does that bring us to the release of the album? Is there anything else you want to talk about with the history of this band?
No.
Okay, so I think, unfortunately, we have not hidden our thoughts about this, but let's talk in general terms about this album. I have to start.
Okay.
I listened to this so many times, Tim. Even now, I can't tell any of the songs apart. It all just sounds like noise with a man screaming at me.
Yes, that's what you're listening to.
I'll give them credit, I guess. It's unconventional noise. They really seem to diversify the various objects on which they can smash and pound against instruments to create an awful racket. So good work. I hate this so much. Let me make a distinction. I don't know that I hate these guys. We're not buds. We're not going to hang out, but they seem like largely kind of normal people. I expected a lot of them to be like into Satan or, some other dumb bullshit. It's not really the case. In fact, they seem to have gone to great lengths to make sure that they could separate their performance art project from their day-to-day lives. And I think the reason is because they know that it's all just nonsense. For that, I can appreciate them, although I do have to seriously question why you need a dead bird
to drum.
Oh, right.
Listen, we can't do this episode if you keep bringing up obvious things like this. Drummers need their dead birds.
Tommy Lee had a pelican in a pillowcase. Fun fact there, that pelican was only half dead.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you, Tim? I've made my thoughts clear.
It's strange because they wear this nonsense on interviews. They wear it at fan signings. They spend so much time crafting this image where they're dark and they're metal and they're Satan-y or whatever. But the whole thing is such an incredible gimmick. This whole thing, it's laughable. First of all, they're not doing anything new.
Nope.
And they're certainly
In fact,
not
there's
doing...
many bands that you can point to and almost got sued by that did the exact same thing either before them or simultaneously.
Yes. They're part of a progression from Ozzy to Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, but this is clearly just a show. The band is sort of trying to portray this as self-serious. To be honest, I've never seen them live. It might work in that scenario. I can't speak to that. I doubt it, but it might.
No, in fact, it's kind of a shit show. They're all just kind of running around the stage like children that have had too much cake at a birthday party, smashing into one
fair
another.
enough.
Only the difference is that they're lighting each other on fire and breaking ribs.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay, where I can say it definitely doesn't work is interviews, autograph signing sessions for fans when they insist on wearing these masks. In that scenario, they don't have the scary effect they're going for. If they're standing behind a dark backdrop, maybe, but if they're sitting in a well-lit record store at noon on a Saturday, it's ridiculous. It's sort of this like commodification of shock or subversive taboos, in the pursuit of money, obviously.
I think they don't even do a very good job. At least Marilyn Manson, I would say, has some consistent branding of androgyny and just a weirdo. These guys, I'm not entirely sure what their thing is. You got some masks.
Well,
they're not all the same. Some are sillier than others. You're definitely not like into Satan and that sort of thing, and that's fine. I appreciate that. Their music is kind of inconsistent. I don't feel it's very consistent or clear what it is they're doing.
I assumed it was consistent up until probably this week. I thought they were all dressed as some variant of clown. I thought it was a scary clown band. I thought that was their thing.
No, let's circle back around. What the fuck type of music is this?
I don't know. It has elements of the industrial thing that Nine Inch Nails is doing. It's clearly got a lot of thrash metal tossed in
and I've
there.
said this before. I can't believe I'm going to say this twice, possibly 2 weeks in a row. They really make Nine Inch Nails look like they have their shit together.
Yeah.
And that's
they make
never
Korn
what you want to
and
hear.
Limp Bizkit and, everyone except
Sugar
for...
Ray.
No, I'm not going to say Sugar Ray because of the darkness. Sugar Ray has a darkness that these guys can't approach. I think we can agree on
Blake
that.
Shelton has a darkness that these guys can't approach. Going into this week, I thought it was firmly in the new metal camp.
I think there's definitely new metal in here.
Okay, here's a question. In the formation of the band, as we touched on, they had their turntablist and their media guy. I assume that's flash drives and the like.
Sampling / media, yes.
Sure, thanks. However, to me, it felt like the record scratches, at least, if not the sampling altogether, felt like an afterthought. It felt like a mediocre thrash metal, industrial-ish band that was like, we're not doing any of this great. What else is popular? We could put some record scratches and samples in. Yeah, let's do that. I don't think that's the case, but it's how it comes off to me.
We should say, for the most part, as far as I can tell, they're not definitely bad musicians.
Explain yourself.
Well, they are definitely playing bad music. It's ugly, it's an unpleasant sounding album all the way through. But for the most part, it seems like they can play their instruments fairly well. The drummer is particularly impressive throughout. I'm not necessarily a fan of what he does on here, but it seems difficult, especially when he's coordinating with two guys that have baseball bats and trash cans.
That's accurate. And I am less inclined to say that their guitarists are even... They're not bad. I'm not saying they're bad, but I can't say they're good.
That's part of the thing. It's mired in nu metal, so there's no guitar solos.
Right. Okay, anything else you want to kind of touch on before we dig into the meat of this bad boy?
Nope.
Okay, let's get into the song by song. What do you say?
Sure.
All right, song number 1, 742617000027.
This isn't a song. It's an intro to their next song. It's all screechy wind noises, and here's an actual sample.
Well, sorta. So, in my research, I read that it wasn't, in fact, actually a sample, that it was a member of the band saying this. If you're in the band, you're not sampling anything.
She's covering some sort of prisoner.
Exactly. So, I assume what you're alluding to is in some places, you'll read this is a sample from a 1993 Manson documentary, right?
Yes.
And what do they repeat over and over at different speeds?
This whole thing, I think it's sick.
I do think that is a quote from that special, and I remember that special. It was interesting. You get to see how our criminal justice system can take a slightly mentally unstable person and convince him to carve a swastika into his face. But that's not what we're talking about today. I don't think it's actually a sample of anyone in that documentary, and by that I mean interview. I think it's just them repeating the quote.
I read exclusively that it was, but okay, doesn't really matter.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah. Slipknot super fun fact number 31. In 2005, Slipknot sued Burger King over their new chicken fries because the ad campaign used a chicken mask-wearing metal band called Cock Rock. Burger King, of course, responded with a countersuit saying, "Other bands do this, stupid. You don't own this." And after negotiations, the advertising campaign and lawsuit were both withdrawn.
Of course they were. Did you listen to any cock rock?
I did.
I did too.
Great.
Yeah.
It's kind of great.
It's kind of great. It's certainly not bad, and it's certainly not Slipknot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, guys. It's 4 singles cooked up by a marketing firm, performed presumably by models. And honestly, if anybody has a lawsuit, I think Nirvana might. One of their songs sounded a lot like School and possibly Soundgarden.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound anything like Slipknot.
No,
aside from the fact that they are wearing headgear, which they certainly didn't come up with.
The masks they're chickens, but they're kind of fucked up, I guess.
Well, yeah, because if you just put normal chicken masks on, everyone would think you were silly.
Right. Before we move on to the next song, let me just say, made with white meat chicken fries are coated in a light, crispy breading seasoned with savory spices and herbs. Chicken fries are shaped like fries and are perfect to dip in any of Burger King's delicious dipping sauces. Try them today, listeners.
Tim?
Yes?
I need you to be real honest with me here. Are you sponsored by Burger King?
You said you wanted sponsors for our show, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. If I'm doing all the work getting all the sponsors, and I'm not saying that I am, but if that were the case, you can get your own sponsors. We can both be sponsored. In fact, I would love for us to both be sponsored. Again, not saying that I am.
Right.
Just saying.
You don't see how that might be a bit of an issue.
Dude, I pulled Burger King. That's a huge get. I mean,
so you admit it.
Theoretically.
You are sponsored by Burger King and NBC. I'm signing that Crystal Light deal. That's right. Crystal Light now in 4 available flavors, caffeine-free and sugar-free Crystal Light.
Move on to the next song?
Sure.
All right.
Song number 2, Sick.
Do you understand the title of this song?
No.
Me either. Because I definitely understand why this band would call a song Sick, S-I-C-K, but it appears to be I realize the quote I'm writing down has a grammatical or spelling error inside of it, and that error is the source's, not mine. I'm not an idiot.
Yes. I guess what they're saying is we wanted to put a better song in here. Unfortunately, we're Slipknot, so this is what you get.
This has been played at every single live show they've done since this album was released. This is their Margaritaville.
Weird. And to me, it sounds just like every other song on here. Here you do get some actual sampling from Carlito's Way.
Yeah.
That's random as shit.
Here comes the pain.
Carlito's Way, if you're not familiar, it's like Scarface, but a good movie.
That's true.
Sean Penn is unrecognizable in that movie. He has a sweet perm.
That's the way I like my Sean Penns.
Permed up.
This is the first album we've done, I think, so far, where we actually get an admission that they don't know what the fuck they're doing either. One of the lyrics in this song about halfway through actually is, "What the hell am I saying?"
Yes. And that's my question throughout all of these. Guys, we're going to hit on some lyrics, as is not uncommon on the show. And normally I have a theory about what they may be talking about. Some of these I am completely dumbfounded. Much like their imaging and branding, it's wildly inconsistent. They're either the most confident human beings on the planet or have the lowest self-esteem. Or have the lowest self-esteem of any person I have ever seen commit to wearing a mask on stage.
Some lyric choices here. You're leaving me suspect, I'm leaving you grotesque. Feels like a burn from which you never learn. Cause and effect, you jealous ass. Oh, it's on. Garrett, it's on.
Uh-oh. If it's on, then you're just moments away from being served.
I would like this band to participate as some sort of dance troupe.
I think they're just moments away from that happening. If they just could choreograph their chaos just slightly more, they're essentially just a theater troupe. I've been to a few modern dance performances. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of how I ended up there. This is shockingly similar. It's so contrived and childish. So this, right from the get, this guy's screaming his face off. And I'll compliment him again. How anybody can growl, shout, scream like this for 20 plus years and still be able to speak, let alone continue to do it at the level they do, is mind-boggling to me. But I'll get another lyric for you, and you alluded to it earlier as something I may or may not have said to you. You can't kill me because I'm already inside you. So I'm not doing it with the same inflection that they do, but it does remind me of the Grandmaster Flash song, Don't Push Me because I'm close to the edge. It was made me giggle every time. Way better song.
Yeah. The chorus of this, if I may read it in full.
Oh boy.
fuck this shit, I'm sick of it. You're going down. This is a war. Fuck it.
Right. And all of this is directed towards his enemies.
Right. But who are they?
I don't know. I really don't know. I have scoured the internet looking for his enemies, and I think they're a bit of a straw man. It's a preemptive defense against potential enemies. He is Iraq warring. This is preemptive.
Okay.
He's nation building with his music. And I would argue it was less of a disaster than the Iraq invasion.
Equal.
Equal. You're right. A lot of lives were lost.
The Iraq invasion was the Slipknot of wars.
Thank you.
Somebody had to
This
say
is why
it.
you're here. It's about time.
This actually becomes kind of fun. And I mean, it's not fun. It's not a fun record. But there's a little bit of happiness brought to me if you just imagine that every one of these bits is all about him yelling at a single person. Like, there was a guy in high school named Doug. And Doug was a dick to Corey once. And he kept that with him for like 6 years. And then Doug was just like, fuck, this guy I knew in high school, man. He came out with a band and he listened to this and he's like, oh, God damn it. Corey's still
I don't think
mad.
you're far off. I think you're actually spot on, because a lot of this does feel like it's being written from the perspective of a high school kid that got bullied a little bit and doesn't know how to properly articulate his feelings, very emotionally immature. But often as you get older, you'll find that the things that made you angry or hurt you as a young man or woman don't really mean jack shit. And you're able to cast them aside as real responsibilities, cloud your mind, and you begin that ever slow march towards death. It seems like hindsight for these guys has only bred more animosity and anger towards how they were treated as children. That fucking Doug. Super ultra mega fun fact. Number 368. And I'm picking these at random, Tim. I have 14 pages of fun facts. Later on in the years, Sean the Clown Crahan? Clown started wearing surgical gloves during the meet and greets with fans after he began to notice just how incredibly disgusting their fans were. Several members of the band asked him to please stop, but it was only after a number of these incidents where he would then show the gloves to the rest of the band, and having them covered in absolute filth and sometimes vomit, they could acquiesce to the idea that their fans are disgusting. All right, let's move along to song number 3, Eyeless.
This song definitely has my second favorite line on this whole album. It's
I
great.
already know what it is.
Yeah, you can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes. It's screamed over and over for no reason. I don't know why they have to say it that many times.
I don't either. You know what? I'm going to agree with you here. God, Tim, you might be getting me there.
That's what I do. I get people
It is-
places.
Well, specifically there. You only have the one place. It is one of the catchiest parts of the whole album. I did find myself not necessarily singing it, because fuck, I hate this album.
Well, because they don't sing it, so why should you?
Right, excuse me. I didn't find myself necessarily screaming it into my dog's face, but I was definitely lightly humming it throughout the week.
Yeah, I genuinely like this line. I don't know what it means.
I think what's most important is it means nothing.
Sure.
And I think you were about to tell everyone where he got the line.
Oh, yeah. Of course, like a line that I would like from this, they didn't write it. They were in California, and he overheard a homeless person yelling it on a street corner, and so he stole a homeless man's intellectual property.
There are more enemies in this song as well. However, towards the end of the song, he begins screaming, "Look me in my brand new eye." To me, it sounds like he really pulled through this thing. I think he's going to be okay. He's got fresh eyes. He's looking at the world in a brand new way. I think these kids are going to be okay.
Did you happen to read the Genius annotation for the "Look me in my brand new eye"?
I don't think so.
Okay. Corey is saying that he sees things differently now than he did as a child. He says he feels new. He says that he feels bigger now, so he's ready to stand up to his enemies.
So when he says feels bigger now, I presume that he is in fact actually bigger now. Presumably he was not born a 6-foot-tall baby. Although if he did, now I'm starting to understand where those enemies might have come from.
Yes,
That awkward phase I was mentioning earlier, way worse if you're a giant baby.
that's true. Other lyrics on this are, "Who the fuck are you? Fuck you. Better suck it up because you bled through." Honestly, they should have grabbed that homeless guy and just made him the 10th member of this band.
Yeah, it's not like they were worried about overfilling the stage. You just give that guy a bottle of Mad Dog 2020 and let him scream into the sunshine. I don't understand why you couldn't have just written down whatever this guy had to say. He seems to be pretty good at singing.
Yeah. The only other point that I have for this musically, there's an intro drum line that I really enjoyed. Did it sound familiar at all?
And I don't have anything in the notes.
Okay, well, it should have sounded familiar because that's a sample from the 1969 funk/soul song Amen Brother by the Winstons. What's notable about that is the drum solo on the song that this is sampled from. As of 2016, that 6-segment fragment has been sampled in at least 2,339 other songs.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I hope that he gets paid every time that
I hope
happens.
so too, yeah.
I mean, he
this
should
is-
be, but-
This is the most sampled song ever.
That's amazing. Neat. Well, see, here's the problem, though. This song creates the audible equivalent of face blindness.
Well,
I can't see the forest for the trees, Tim.
That one's an easy one to see because it's literally the first 6 seconds of this song and then it's this band playing.
I will counter that argument with you can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes.
That's true. I can see California, Garrett. I've been able to see it for 2 years now.
Oh my God.
That's right.
You
got those
monster.
eyes. I got those eyes. Is
One of two things
Brando
has
dead?
happened. Yes, he's super dead.
Oh.
Been that way for a bit. So one of two things has happened. Either you have been swindled once again, like that gentleman who sold you magic beans, or you have disgusting, disgusting old decomposing eyes in your pocket and you need to throw those away.
They are pristine. They burn when I press them against my own eyes, though.
Track number 4, Wait and Bleed.
I would argue this is the best song on the album.
I agree.
It starts out semi-acceptable. In the first 4 lines of this song, it could have ended up well.
And that's where I have to get on the old off-ramp. It is the best song on here because it at least mostly resembles a song.
Yeah,
it
he's
resembles
singing.
a song for more time. I don't even know how to say this. It is 43% song, whereas your average Slipknot is somewhere in the range of 19 to 21% song.
Sure.
Is that about
Yeah,
right?
that's accurate. I assume those are numbers on the fly. That's not from the boys at the lab.
Oh, those are absolutely boys from the lab.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's definitely correct. They do good work.
Yeah, well, they've had a lot of extra free time between SpaceX and that Amazon rocket company. Those guys are not really terribly busy with NASA projects, so they've really been able to put some serious computer power behind crunching the numbers. This was nominated for a Grammy, once again proving the Grammys are stupid.
According to the band, this song, Wait and Bleed, it's about a man who has constant dreams of suicide by slitting his wrists. One day, he wakes up to find that his dream is a reality. He tries to fall back to sleep, but realizes this is it. This is final. He has finally done it.
Specifically in a bathtub filled with his own blood. You know where else you can find this song, Tim? I'm sure you do. The Scream 3 soundtrack. We all
yeah.
remember how great that was.
Yeah. I assume you also watched that in preparation for this.
I did, but it was not in preparation for this. I
It's
watched
for
at
the
least one
sheer
Scream.
joy of Scream 3.
I'm a real Nev head. Love that Nev Campbell. You know what, Tim? I hate to get off on a tangent. You know me. I'm a bit of a stickler for the schedule. But where is Nev Campbell?
Do you want her address? I have
no,
her address.
No. Oh my God, no. Jesus. Why do you have... Know it? Don't answer, because then I will technically have to answer in a court. I haven't seen hide nor hair of Nev Campbell since... Was she in Scream 4?
I barely know who Nev Campbell is. I did not have
No.
the sexual awakening to Nev Campbell that you did.
I sure did. Unfortunately, once my father walked in while I was awakening that sexuality, and it was embarrassing. It was, in fact, Scream 1, though. This song, I couldn't help but notice, does have some singing on it, right?
It does, because he doesn't start the screaming or what I would like to call bark singing. We've had phlegm scatting, whisper singing, breathe boxing, bark singing maybe? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Or just barking?
I'm torn.
Maybe he's just
I'm
barking?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm torn by that singing in there.
So I have a genius annotation. The lyrics here are, get out of my head because I don't need this. I'm a victim, Manchurian candidate. I have sinned. The genius annotation. Previous commenters keep referring to suicide as the suicide of your physical body. The real suicide is when you give yourself to Jesus Christ in full. Get out of my head because I don't need this is the fear of the unknown. The protagonist is an ardent Christian.
What? I hope they're right. That would make
don't-
this so weird.
I don't think it's right. Although they did have a member that left before this album because he was a very devout Christian. I want to congratulate this guy on his first genius submission. It's just as batshit insane and ridiculous as everyone else's, so he should fit well with this community.
Yeah, he is in the right place. You are welcome here, sir.
Song number 5, Surfacing.
I'm immediately out if you start your song with fuck you all.
I was going to say it's a classic song intro.
We get the first prominent record scratches of the album on this song.
Yeah.
And to me, because I hadn't noticed them beforehand, it seemed wildly out of place.
It doesn't really fit in with this type of heavy metal, right?
No, they're not committed to the new metal sound. They're their own thing. It's a terrible thing, but it is their own thing. He is the David S. Pumpkins of the music world. It's his own thing.
I love it that for as different as this band tries to be, they still stick to such conventional song structure on most of these songs. It's verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus. That's the exact formula for every country song in 1960.
Yep.
It's very strange.
This song has a line in it that I thought was not bad. That line is, I am the push that makes you move.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, he describes anxiety in a fairly accurate way, I think, on this. Running out of ways to run. I can't see, I can't be, over and over and under my skin. All this attention is doing me in. That might work if you could understand it.
Right. But instead he is barking. Scream barking? Sparking?
Excellent. Sparking. The chorus for this song, I have an explanation for what this song was intended to be.
Great.
So the chorus, obviously quoting directly from 2 Corinthians, fuck it all, fuck this world, fuck everything that you stand for, don't belong, don't exist, don't give a shit, don't ever judge me, don't you fucking judge me, burn. So the bassist for this says, basically, we dedicate it to the kids as their new national anthem. It's our way of saying, don't worry about everyone else, just worry about yourself. What a positive, uplifting song this apparently is. I do look forward to Beyonce singing fuck it all, fuck this world, fuck everything that you stand for before the next Super Bowl.
Why would that happen?
It's the new national anthem, as Paul Gray has said. Let's see those assholes kneel through that.
Political. Time for me to juice this up with another super ultra mega extreme fun fact.
All right.
Fun fact number 3261851. Remember that dead crow in a jar I mentioned earlier?
I do.
Well, some fans wanted to prove just how hardcore they were, and after asking to see and sniff the crow, they would quickly reach in and taste the crow.
Whenever you say reach in, with their tongue?
No, with their hands.
So they'd pull
it's an
the
open
crow
jar
out.
Filled with a dead crow.
I don't know if filled is necessarily the case. I mean,
I guess that's what I'm picturing. Okay, don't stop ruining my.
So
my imagination.
You're picturing a jar that is far too small to contain a crow, and he's just jammed it in there.
Not too small, just big enough. Where do you buy jars? The hardware store?
If you're a member of Slipknot, after you've finished your strawberry preserves, you rinse that out and jam a crow in there.
I just hope the crow is already dead. Otherwise, we're dealing with an entirely more macabre situation.
This is
But
true.
yeah, guys, I hope this doesn't need to be said, but don't eat uncooked dead birds, especially a crow, and especially from a stranger's jar.
They taste terrible.
That's not the point. Filled with parasites.
Super relevant Slipknot fact. Number 211B, in 2006, the ashes of some 17-year-old kid, he died in a car accident, they were stolen from his grave, and the lyrics to the song Surfacing were left with nooses at the site. There was an issue at his funeral because his friends wanted to bury a bunch of Slipknot CDs with him, and his mom said no.
So his friends clearly did it.
Yeah, of course. Okay. But this, Garrett, this is not the last time that Slipknot in grave robbery will grace the headlines. Because bassist Paul Gray, or number 2, as everyone probably knows him, he died of a morphine overdose in 2010, and his grave was robbed as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They didn't, dig him up and steal his mask that he was almost certainly buried with.
Oh, yeah.
From what I can tell, they stole, a Buddha and a gargoyle statue from his gravesite.
Oh, okay.
So,
that guy loved 3 things: masks, morphine, and fentanyl. And he was buried filled with all 3.
Jesus Christ.
Track number 6, Spit It Out.
Does this start with an attempt at rap? Is that what
Sure
we're dealing
does.
with?
Growl, rap, 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 growl. Ooh, grappling? That's unfair. They don't happen simultaneously, but collectively this song is filled with grappling.
It is. This kind of reminded me of Korn's All in the Family, with the notable exception that there's no one there to yell back at him, so it's worse than All in the Family somehow.
Yes.
Big mouth fucker, stupid cocksucker, are you scared of me now? You're dumber than I thought. Step up, fairy. And then
you know what? I'm glad you read that line. I had this a little further down in the notes, but I think we can address it right here. Lena Dunham does not approve of this album.
Oh, of course not. There is homophobia all over this.
Homophobia, misogynism, typical gender roles.
I don't know about
Lean's
that. I don't know that we can say for sure there are typical gender roles on this.
We can definitely agree it's homophobic and misogynistic at best.
Absolutely.
We don't even have to debate it. She would not approve.
Definitely. This song has my favorite line on the album.
Really?
Yeah, it does. At the end of one of his rants at an unnamed subject, probably Doug,
Definitely Doug.
He calls Doug a biggity bitch boy.
Of course, that's your favorite line.
What is that? Okay, you know what? It doesn't matter. If you're writing the line biggity bitch boy, if that ever crosses your mind,
Gone
scrap
down.
this
Your song is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, just scrap it. Maybe reach out to the 8 other people sitting in the room and say, does anyone else have some lyrics? Mine are utter shit. Something I enjoyed about this song, it really dates itself, and I don't even think it accurately dates itself with some of the slang used.
Oh, yeah.
Now, obviously, biggity bitch boy was never popular anywhere. A couple words in here that stood out to me. He calls a gun chrome. Gonna put a chrome to your head.
Yeah.
And then, much as you tend to do on this show, despite how many times I've asked you to stop, don't you know who you're dissing?
It's a diss. He's not insulting anybody. He's not challenging anyone to a fight. He's calling an unnamed person a cocksucker. That's dissing.
Tim,
Step up, Fairy.
Are you quoting the song, or are you now just insulting me?
Oh, I thought we were going to fight. Biggity bitch boy. That's what you are.
I'm going to put a chrome to your dome.
Please don't.
I struggled tremendously trying to understand what any of these songs were about unless I was able to find explicit explanations. I'm going to first read the lyrics and tell you what I came to make of it. And it's a few lines, so bear with me. Where you going to be in the next 5 years? The crew and all you fools, get your lips ready. Gonna gag, gonna make you sick. You got dick when they passed out the good stuff. So,
this is definitely a diss, first of all.
you say it again, I'm going to hit you. It's going to be close-fisted.
Step up, Fairy.
Our friendship won't be the same after this. And it's going to be your fault. Is this song actually an uplifting tale about taking your natural gifts, working hard, and making something out of your life?
I can't imagine.
Almost certainly not. But he does mention, obviously, this is again directed at Doug. This guy's taking a lot of heat. He's saying, listen, I've got the skills and I work hard. You, Doug, when they were passing out the skills, just implies that he's very talented and that Doug can't do shit. And that he's going to work hard, and in 5 years, he's going to be somewhere, which I have to say, sadly, I mean, they did a great job. They worked hard, and for whatever reason, this became incredibly popular. So there's a lot of egg on Doug's face. But it seems as though he's saying, hey, none of this matters right now. Come talk to me again later down the road, because you don't have any innate skills, right?
He does seem to be confident and positive about his own future.
That's what I'm driving at.
He says, fuck me, I'm all out of enemies. That makes me worry about Doug. Has he forgiven Doug, or has he killed Doug?
I like to think that Doug turned it around.
Okay.
Maybe started out at a local community college, moved on to a state school, and then maybe even got into medical school. Maybe Doug's an ophthalmologist.
Way to go, Doug.
Dr. Doug.
Ready to move on to the next song, Biggity bitch boy? Let's move on. I'm so scared.
You fuck. I hate you so much. Why are we friends? Track number 7, Tattered and Torn.
This is my least favorite song in this album. I can't understand anything they say. I don't care to. The music is particularly... I don't know what it is about it. The beginning of it, the background noise, it sounds like wind noises. Mm-hmm. There's like a bell after that.
Mm-hmm. A Siemens chime.
Yeah, so okay, right. Are we gonna get a Decemberists-esque sea shanty? No. No, we're not. We're gonna get growling and...
Grappling?
Grappling. Gonna get some
I also would
grappling.
accept shapping. Shout rapping. Boy, that sounds dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like a good shap.
Walked in and caught Tim shapping.
This was originally on their self-released debut. This was one of the few songs on that, Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat, or whatever it's called, they thought was good enough to carry over onto their major label.
This song, Tattered and Torn, before I got the dossier back from the boys at the lab, I found a small fun fact. And this is an unofficial fun fact. This is the exact same name as their clothing line. And I thought, wait a moment. Not knowing much about Slipknot at this point, I still thought they were super hardcore fellas. They have a clothing line? Gwen Stefani has a clothing line. Slipknot has a clothing line? You know, obviously now it makes total sense because all of this is just kind of a big cash grab or, you know, theater kids run amok. Slipknot to me is if a Gadzooks or a Hot Topic were to somehow burst to life and begin playing music. I think it would be Slipknot. So this sort of makes sense, but it was my first indication that these guys aren't necessarily what they appear to be on stage.
The clothing line, do you know when it was begun?
Pretty late in the game, right?
Yeah, it was 2008. To me, that at least they weren't probably thinking about making hoodies when they came up with this song. This isn't a Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, they didn't backdoor into an album.
Sure.
But what's funny about you mentioned hoodies, the clothing line literally only sells t-shirts and hoodies.
Yeah, they have a plan for jeans, but haven't been able to break away from their busy schedule yet to get some jeans out there.
Does the Slipknot fan base rock a lot of denim?
I don't know.
I feel like they're more of the black canvas pants crew.
You can have black denim, be some sort of cowboy Slipknot fan.
You associate black denim with cowboys? Do you associate any denim not with cowboys?
No.
How often throughout the day are you thinking about cowboys? You know what? Don't answer that. Anything else you want to say about this?
About 12%. It's not high, but it's higher than average.
Listen, first of all, I asked you not to answer. Second of all, if you're going to answer, do not lie. So now I'm going to have to ask you again, Tim. How much in a percentage do you think about cowboys in your day?
It's honestly like 12%. I mean, we're not factoring dreams in, right?
Yeah, of course we're factoring in dreams. Who's thinking about them?
Okay, well, what's 56% then? Most of my dreams are pretty cowboy-centric. I like cowboys. Or at least unconscious me likes cowboys. And honestly, I have to say this. Most of my cowboy thoughts during the day are usually about why I'm dreaming about cowboys so much. Because, I mean, I like cowboys, sure. But do I like them enough to spend 100% of my dreams on them? I don't know. Maybe there's like a steel worker.
Hold on. You just revealed something. 100% of your dreams?
Well, yeah, that's where the 50%. I sleep for 50% of the day.
Right, but 100% of your dreams are cowboys?
Yes.
You're never not dreaming about cowboys?
Not that I can remember, no. I mean,
that's it. You know what? It probably doesn't mean anything. Track number 8, Me Inside.
This song is the first one I noticed that I thought was really Korn-like.
Okay.
He does the same weird, sort of childlike, almost falsetto, like the wavery voice, and then goes into the growl. He does a growly whisper. And
yeah, that's true. He does whisper growl.
It's not much of a song. We're in the filler.
We're deep into the filler phase of this album. It's pretty tough. This song does talk about him being mocked for his singing, and I have to say, I mean, he did have the last laugh, because the song does mention how he grew up and his enemies, Doug, would make fun of his singing, and they were right to. I want to say that, but he produced 5 mega successful albums, so joke's on you, Doug.
Well, and then he's got the Stone Sour. That became a thing again.
Right, but that was never really a thing.
I'm pretty sure that they're maybe not Grammy winning, but they're like platinum selling albums.
If only I had formed a shitty metal band in the late 90s. It turns out they were just handing out record contracts. God.
We've got some Spanish on it too. Did you notice the Spanish?
I didn't.
I translated it for you. It says, "We're ugly, we stink, but we reign, you fag. Motherfucker."
I just want to take a moment and apologize to Lena Dunham. We're strictly reading this. We do not in any way endorse the lyrics of this album. They're offensive. You've come so far, Tim, over the last several months. I feel just even you having to dirty your eyes with such words is probably setting you back a few weeks.
You know what? I should have issued a trigger warning. I didn't do that. You're supposed to give a trigger warning before you say something that could be potentially offensive. In the notes, be sure to say trigger warning just preemptively.
You know, if we did fail to say trigger warning in here, that's true. But what I would like to warn you about is about another Slipknot Super Ultra Mega Fun Fact. This latest one is fun fact number 2. The band infamously refused to wash their clown masks throughout the entire course of the tour so that they could carry around the spirit of the tour with them wherever they went. In this case, the spirit was a euphemism for sweat, spit, and an oftentimes vomit. Ready to move on?
I am.
Track number 9, Liberate.
Parts of this reminded me of Metallica's Saint Anger.
Yes.
Or Dirty Window, I guess I should say. He does the salivate, litigate, liberate, madness, sadness. Like, he's just saying words that rhyme for no reason.
And well, here's what's really crazy about that. What you just read is the least nonsensical part. Let me give you a few lines before and after. Hard eyes glow right in my darkness again. With the sickness renegade sisters blisters. Salivate, litigate, liberate, madness, sadness. Fuck this. How long have I had this? Huh? Something about blisters? You got some blisties? The fuck are we talking about here, guys? Come on, this is supposed to be hardcore. Ready to move on? Mm-hmm. Okay, track number 10. We're so close. Prosthetics. May I bring up Saint Anger again?
Please.
At first, when this song begins, I thought that we were going with the Saint Anger approach of playing broken drum kits. But no. I think you actually hit me to this because I was under the impression they were trash cans, but they do in fact sound like empty propane tanks. I assume they're empty because Jesus Christ.
Oh, I hope they're not.
Don't bang. Well, yeah, we can only. Well, hey, you and I made a deal that we were going to stop wishing death on people.
I signed that under duress.
You were duressed like a cowboy.
This song appears to be about kidnapping somebody, right?
I think so. That was my best guess.
Okay.
And I kind of kept trying to figure out how it was a metaphor. I think it's about just taking a lady.
Yeah. Can I read some lyrics to this effect? Even if you run, I will find you. Even if you run, you'll be mine. I couldn't help myself. I just took you. Better make yourself at home. You're here to stay. All the doors are locked. All the windows shut. Keep in mind, I watch you. Never leave my side. Never leave me, fucker. Please don't excerpt any of the lyrics from this album that I read.
Well, something I forgot until just when you read those lyrics, I said taking a lady. That's actually wrong because later on in the song, he repeatedly says dude and man.
Yeah.
Now, I personally will call people dude and man that are ladies, but it's pretty untraditional for people to do that.
Yeah, well, your inability to tell genders apart is...
Oh, I can tell. I just choose to ignore it.
Just don't care. According to the band, it's about the 1965 movie The Collector, which is about a man who enjoys collecting butterflies, kidnapping a woman. They would like to stress it is not about something any of them did once, just so we're clear.
Right. I'm not buying it. Actually, I am buying it. They seem like sweet boys. Track number 11, No Life.
This one to me sounded really Limp Bizkit-y.
Yeah, it's the closest to an authentic nu metal song. I don't actually think that this album pulls out of the filler phase. A lot of times they'll put something on the end that's a little more legitimate.
What's amazing, we've gone through the good songs.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. We've done the good ones.
Track number 12, Deluded. This is the notebook of a sad goth kid that got made fun of by Doug. I want to go back to 1998 and tell him, it gets better. You're out of high school. You can let it go.
But based on the other songs, he knows it gets better. He knows it will get better.
Yeah, he doesn't want it to get better. He wants to stay in that anger. There's a couple of lines in here that I feel like could have been written by somebody you know well. I keep my scars from prying eyes, incapable of ever knowing why. That sounds like it could be you, right?
Is this a good time for a Garrett Harvey high school poetry reading? It does fit, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Okay, so for this selection, I'm going to try to avoid one that's about women, which is tough, and how they weren't interested in me at all. You're going to have to bear with me because not only are the poems bad and incredibly embarrassing, they don't often fit typical poetry structure. The explanation of my motivation is the creation of a hesitation to just let go, to not look back, to kiss the sky and say goodbye. I close my eyes. The world is gone. The fears, the tears, the life I lead. And it's just me. Not the me you see. The me we all strive to be. The me I wish that I could be. The me that none shall ever see.
Oh, God,
I was a founding member of Slipknot.
You're the clown. Oh my God, that's amazing.
I only wish that I could shap it.
I mean, I don't know how to continue after that. I have more notes. I don't.
We should just move on.
No, I have to press on. Garrett.
What is wrong with me? Tim, I couldn't understand why no one wanted to go out with me.
Yeah, you were...
I'm sorry.
So did you read all of these in front of the class?
No.
Okay.
Just a few. But only one of them was I trying to physically penetrate a woman with my eyes.
Okay.
What? I'm not defending it, obviously.
Jesus Christ.
Track 13, only one. For this one in particular, I tried to juice it up a bit by putting together my own backstory for what these lyrics could possibly mean. I believe what I'm about to read is the argument of a man with a multiple personality disorder arguing with himself. Only one of us walks away. Somebody explain this. You don't care because you don't exist. What the fuck? Is this another joke? Reckoning?
I like this song now. That's how easy it is. I had sort of a similar thing. Mine was he was trying to get into the mind of a homeless man. He was trying to recapture the magic of you can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes. And he's just, you bet your bottom dollar, I'm the top of the shit pile. Step off the Achtung, gonna crash land it. All I hear is human noise.
It doesn't have that authentic homeless sound.
Song number 14, Scissors.
Is that Sandpaper that opens the song?
I don't know.
It's great.
Perhaps they got a 10th member who's just a sandpaperist.
Maybe they were just doing some work on the studio. A sandpaperist. Yeah. Turntablist, meet our sandpaperist.
At this point in this fucking album, because the songs before this are fairly short, at least they're, 3.5, 4 minutes at the most. This is 8:23.
Oh yeah, and it's every bit of 8:23.
Oh, good God, yeah. There's no rule that your album has to be a certain number of songs or a certain length.
No, and in fact, it's interesting because typically that minimum length we've seen is like 12. They really went above and beyond here. I have my longest quote in the history of the show in this.
Okay.
What I'm about to read, this is my God's honest $1 million answer for what this song is about. I think this is the grossest description of intercourse I've ever heard. I'll take you through it. I played doctor for 5 minutes flat. Okay, no problem.
I'm already on board. I believe you.
So far, though, I'm not disgusted. I play doctor for 5 minutes flat before I cut my heart open and let the air out.
I might be back off.
Three bugs, a pond of dust, some wind spilled before me.
Oh yeah, this is about intercourse.
Mm-hmm. As I lie there with my tongue spread wide open, ew. A black widow had offered me a sweetheart tube. Ew. As I injected the candid heart that I selected, she said, don't hesitate, just do what you want to do to me. Sweetheart tube.
I mean, I'm never going to refer to my wiener as anything but.
Oh, that's not what I thought they were referring to.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree.
Okay. You're just taking it and making it your own. Yeah. That's what I like about you, Tim. To be clear, that is what I hate about you.
I don't want you to read another poem. However, this would be an appropriate place. What I was struck by most by this song, other than Sweetheart Tube, biding my time until the time is right is repeated 16 times. And then he says, it is time in a corn voice in the outro 12 times. This is a waste. Every bit of this is a waste. You could cut any one of these things except for Sweetheart Tube out of this song, and I wouldn't miss it a bit.
Yeah, that's true. If this is the road you got to walk down to get to Sweetheart Tube, then
yeah, I will go any length for that Sweetheart Tube.
Number 15, last song on our version of the album, Eeyore.
This is a pretty good name for most of the songs on this album. It's just self-pitying and
professing a love of thistles.
He does shout, I am the great big mouth, a bunch of times.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It's a pretty good nickname. It's long, but it's catchy. There's some pity record scratches at the end, where I feel like they're just kind of tacked on. Other than that, there's almost nothing to say about this. Let me give this a big... I do not care.
Yeah.
What I do care about is getting another super ultra mega compu global hyper mega net fun fact into the mix.
Okay.
Fun fact number 226178-B. Though Thompson can come off as quite intimidating, he has admitted in several interviews that he's actually a bit of a cat lover.
These guys all seem like cat lovers. This and Ed Sheeran is the spectrum of cat lover.
Yeah, that's it. From Sheeran to Thompson. That's your whole span of cat loving.
Actually, no, I take that back. You can either be a Sheeran or you can be a Slipknot. That's it. There's no in between.
Man, Sheeran's such a cat lover.
So you want to talk about how this did?
Absolutely. But first, I need to get into another fun fact for the band Slipknot. Fun fact number 22688-C.
I fucking hate you.
I know.
Okay.
Band member Jordison, I don't remember his first name, don't care, still lives with his parents, though he is not home that much.
That's nice.
I don't know if it's nice. It's suspicious. If they have a large basement with a camera set up, they should maybe,
Do you think maybe they live with him at this point? He buys the house. It's a big house. He grew up there,
Yeah, I do actually think that's the case.
It's nice.
But that's not how it's framed on. Yeah, that's nice. But if he is still living in his childhood home, then maybe that song that they claim is about the collector...
I hope he sleeps in his childhood bed.
Just makes him feel safe.
Yeah.
How did this album do, Tim?
Really goddamn well, despite how off-putting it is, honestly.
What a shocker.
Yes. This only peaked at number 51 on the Billboard Top 200 chart. However, made it all the way to number 42 on the Dutch mega charts. That's for our Dutch listeners.
Oh, you sneaky little cunt. How did you get that in there?
According to SoundScan, this is the fastest selling metal debut album ever.
That sounds wrong.
It hit platinum status within a year. So May 2000, it sold 1 million copies in the US. Double platinum in 2005. Did you figure out how many were sold in total?
The only figure I found was double platinum.
So we know they sold at least 2 million within the US. No idea how much worldwide.
As of 13 years ago.
I'm sure it's at least sold 3 million copies worldwide. Conservatively, we can say that. This type of music, weirdly, it's more popular in other countries.
Right, because you don't need to know the words.
Yeah. Slipknot super fun fact number 307-118-1215. In 2015, Slipknot guitarist Mick Thompson was stabbed in the back of his head by his brother during a knife fight they were having on their front lawn in Iowa in what authorities would later describe as a desperate attempt to remain relevant to metal fans.
Wait.
They were both arrested and charged because the police thought they were equally to blame.
Okay. Peaked at 51, went at least double platinum, almost certainly triple platinum by this point. The average Joe seem to love it.
The sales numbers are probably inflated on this one too by a bunch of people's parents throwing it away and then them secretly buying another copy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds like a big part of their market.
I always thought it would be a really good idea if you were a band like Slipknot to basically put on a bunch of bow ties, slick down your hair, and take a really nice photo for the front of it.
Yeah.
Because you put a bunch of stinky mask-wearing assholes on the front. Parents don't need to listen to it to know they don't want their 9-year-old hearing it.
Yeah, my mom saw it and was disgusted.
And you know what? She was right to be. Okay, so what do the critics think?
Honestly, you're not going to like this. It was pretty well liked. There were a lot of 4 to 5 star reviews by professional critics. Yes. So let me read you a quote from somebody that gave it a 4 out of 5. All Music's Rick Anderson. He called this an auspicious debut and said, "You thought Limp Bizkit was hard? They're the Osmonds. These guys are something else entirely, and it's pretty impressive." So you kind of have to take these good reviews with a grain of salt. These are people that are used to listening to Korn, and they're like, it's different.
Right, he has a faulty premise. You thought Limp Bizkit was hard. I did not.
Well,
I did not. I thought Limp Bizkit was thirsty. And again, these guys are drama nerds.
Yes. It was voted the best debut album of the last 25 years by readers of Metal Hammer magazine. I know you personally put a lot of stock in the opinions of Metal Hammer readers. Yeah.
Well, what about assholes and idiots?
Okay.
Let's hear the reviews of raving lunatics on Amazon.
So there were 1,050 reviews for this.
Oh my God.
Overall, 4.4 out of 5, 79% 4 to 5 stars. Not a one of these people can spell Des Moines. Just throwing that out there. I mean, their fans proudly call themselves maggots because of how they writhe and squirm during the shows. So it sort of makes sense, I guess.
I don't see the correlation, but okay.
A maggot can't spell Des Moines. First review, this won't get you through life. What's wrong with you people? This band will tear your life apart. When you listen to this, Satan enters your body, doesn't care about you. He wants you to hate God so you follow him, because he wants every soul. To prove that he is more powerful than God. Evil makes you feel dirty, and good makes you feel clean. So what would you rather be, dirty or clean? I think you know the answer. Go to your local bookstore and buy a Bible. I used to love this band, but they made me feel dead inside, like I'm not even human. Follow God, good will happen. Follow the devil, rot in a burning cage forever. He gave it 1 star.
I was hoping 4 stars. I used to love this album. What changed?
He began to feel dead inside.
You and I have spent a considerable amount of time critiquing this album and being, dare I say, not too nice about it.
Yes.
Never once, though, did I get any indication whatsoever that A, they were trying to lure me to the devil, B, that they in any way even espoused negative actions towards anyone other than your enemies, aka Doug.
And that woman they kidnapped, allegedly.
He calls her dude and man.
Okay, that boy or man that they kidnapped.
Listen, let me say this just right. Anybody who would ever abduct a woman and do... And I don't even need to continue. From that point on, you're a fucking scumbag and you should die. If I take you, Tim Richardson, put you in a cage and watch you and never let you out, I might get a medal.
That is not the nicest thing you've ever said about me. I will say, while I listened to this album, I was a little bit concerned that I would rot in a burning cage forever. So he might have a point.
Don't worry, it won't be burning.
Oh dear. Could it be? I feel like that would get it over with. Doesn't matter. Other facts about this review. 6 people found it helpful.
How?
Also of note, so our audience, well known to love statistics.
Oh, yeah.
In this review, 9.8% of the words are misspelled.
Wow.
They also didn't put any spaces after periods, but that's neither here nor there.
Like any?
No, never.
Weird.
Okay, this review is called Loud, I Love It Loud. By the way, this is from 2018, so people are still talking about this. I have some neighbors I'm not too friendly with whatsoever, and they love to disturb me at any chance they get, hitting the ceiling or my floor at all hours of the day and night, letting their kids scream and cry, so I play this CD. I love Slipknot. They're loud, the sound travels easily, and they hate it. They should know by now not to mess with me. I can play this game 10 times better. I recommend this to every fan of Corey Taylor, Stone Sour, or Slipknot, or to anyone that wants to piss off an annoying neighbor or two. Winky face.
I agree with part of that. This would drive me insane.
I get it. When people at the gym play their music on their iPhones without headphones, for everyone to enjoy, I always make sure I have my iPhone with me, loaded up with garbage music in case this happens. And whenever they do that, I turn it up as loud as possible and I set it right next to their iPhone to ruin their day. And then I go do something else and listen to my headphones on the actual music that I brought, like I'm some sort of Guantanamo Bay prison guard.
Yeah, you're kind of Noriegaing the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
I like this guy.
That's great. It doesn't seem like an irrational response at all. Now you have a great new album.
You've said it before, we delete these albums whenever we're done. It's cathartic. It's nice to know that I'll never have to listen to this again. And I will never listen to it again, but people around me might.
I'm also intrigued by these neighbors that are making so much noise below them. That's a very unconventional, noisy neighbor scenario.
Well, I remember you had a neighbor above you that was loud, stomping around with boots or something. Remember you had a shoe on a broom handle?
Yes, I did.
You would slam into the ceiling to give them exactly the noise they were giving you. Thought it was always clever.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shoe broom. You have any more reviews for us?
I have one more. It's a short one.
All right.
This is by Tony W. from 2016 and is entitled simply Awesome. This was in brand new condition, still in the plastic wrap. Not sure why, but my package was cut open already when I found it outside my door. Let me explain to Tony W. what was happening. He was robbed. Somebody stole his package off of his doorstep, took it home to gleefully examine what his theft had gained him, and when he opened it, he said, fuck this, and he just put it back in disgust.
Rather than just throw it away, the most suitable punishment for this gentleman for fooling him into stealing utter garbage was to actually just give it back and have him listen to it. Good reviews, Tim. We're getting near the end here. I think I know the answer to this, so we're going to make it quick and easy. Who is this for?
I think anyone with terrible neighbors or people that play their music without headphones at the gym.
Yeah, or trying to oust a dictator from an embassy that refuses to leave.
Sure. If you are a member of some sort of military unit or intelligence operation and torture is, you want to stick by the
Off
rules,
the table.
play a little Slipknot, see what happens.
Is there a chance that new metal stands for nuisance metal? This is music designed to just create a nuisance?
That's great. Yeah, it fits. I don't think that's what they were going for, but I mean, it fits.
Once again, it is also probably for that hormone-infused group of angry young men. I think now we call them incels, but basically they're gentlemen that have yet to figure out any sort of social skills in order to get them laid. So they're just kind of smashing into each other and complaining about how hard their life is, when in fact it's a cage of their own making. Or just, adolescence. It sucks for all of us, but eventually it gets better.
Yeah, this is not for Chads or Stacys.
Right. Get out of here, squares. Future suits.
Non-incels.
Final thoughts, Tim.
I just can't stand this. It's ugly music. This is an unpleasant experience. If you've made it this far, don't listen to this album. If you haven't heard
honestly.
this, the clips that we play are more than enough.
Yes. In fact, we make several warnings on the show about what you should and shouldn't watch. Watch Mr. Hands before you listen to this.
Do not watch Mr. Hands.
That's
cannot
important.
stress that
That's
enough.
important. Also, I want to point out something, Tim. Sometimes your lack of a grasp of the English language actually turns out to be a benefit for both of us. You called this ugly music, a little untraditional for those of us who have English as the first language we speak, but it's 100% accurate. It's ugly. It is music. It's nuisance. It's nuisance metal.
Yeah.
It makes me sad. It is jarring. Startling. I am startled.
Every time I listened to this, I just sat there imagining how much you were hating this week and hating me for picking this dumb album. And
Tim, I almost quit this show. I really fucking hate this.
Yeah.
Like, you have lost a lot of credibility with me, not just in which albums we picked to do on the show, but as a person, as a friend.
I'm sorry, we're supposed to be picking bad albums, right?
Yeah, man,
okay, then
but
I
come
win.
on,
I won.
First of all, this isn't a competition.
Oh.
Second of all, there's a reasonable expectation that it's at least listenable. This was truly awful. I can't trust you now.
Okay, we have to take a break from the new metal. We can't.
I'm glad you brought
We
this up.
gotta do something else because we've hit it hard. We've done 5, 6 albums that somebody could consider new metal. We gotta take a break.
We've hit the full spectrum, but guys, we're gonna step away. Maybe in a year or so, we'll come back.
A year is too long, like a month. I love new metal.
That's obvious. Okay, Tim, as a matter of formality, do you hate this album?
Yes, I do.
Of course you do.
Garrett, do you hate this album?
I think I'm coming around. No, I fucking hate it, man. I hate this. I hate you. I hate them.
Yeah, I hate me. I hate you. I hate them. There's like 3 people in our audience specifically that I hate. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your downloads. Before we wrap up, a little bit of housekeeping as always. Guys, we love hearing from you. A couple ways you can reach out to the show. Facebook.com/hatepod, at album hatepod, Gmail, hatepodmail@gmail.com, or just go to hatepod.com, click on the contacts tab, write in questions, thoughts, album suggestions are always great. We're going to try to put up some polls here in the future so you guys can actually have some say in what we do next, or at least what gets added to the list.
Please don't just say new metal over and over and over again.
Tim, our audience is not us. They're not obnoxious a-holes. Please reach out. We tell you our ridiculous stories that have to do with these albums, but we want to hear yours. Hilarious stories from your awkward childhood. Hey, do you have some poetry you want to share with us? We will read it on the show. We'll read first names only. Everybody gets to stay nice and anonymous. We're the only 2 idiots that would actually publicly admit that we did and said these things. Anything else I left off, Tim?
Still only on Instagram?
Right, at HatePod. Tim exclusively runs our Instagram. He does literally nothing else for the show. So if you want to reach out to him, well, if you want to reach out to Tim, HatePod on Instagram, you can send him a picture of whatever you'd like. This has been Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I'm the other, Tim Richardson.
The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.